Yo, Chuck.
Hey guys, back here with another algorithm. This one's called Naive String Search. So basically, I've got a long string right here, and then I've got a shorter string. And I want to count how many times, how many occurrences this shorter string appears in the larger string. So you can see it's 1, 2, 3 times. So the best way to probably do this is to first loop over this larger string. So that's what I'm going to do. Make a for loop here, increment it. Okay, cool. So now we're looping over each individual character of the long string. And I want to compare it to the shorter string. So one way to do that is make another for loop nested inside, and then we'll just set it to j and say j is less than short.length because I want to compare each individual character of the larger string to, or sorry, the shorter string to the larger. So from here, you've got to imagine the I for loop is counting every individual letter of this long string, and then it's running an iteration of does it equal this, does it equal this, does it equal this, okay? So the logic here to check if this is valid, I'm going to do an if statement. So if short at j, that's going to be referring to these letters. And I'm going to say if it doesn't equal long at I plus j, then I want to break out of this inner for loop and return to the original one. So what's the logic behind I plus j? So I plus j is basically a way we can keep track of where we are in the initial longer string and then comparing it to each individual letter in the smaller string, because short at j, that is just going to be referring to O, M, and G. Long I plus j is going to be referring to wherever I is. So I would be 0, 1, 2, 3, and then j as well. So j would be 0 right here because you would have started all over again. So 0, 1, oh, they don't match. 1 and 1 doesn't match. W doesn't match with M. So we're going to break out of this for loop. So if they don't match, we're going to break out. But what if they do match? We're going to need to increment some type of count or score. So I'm going to make a variable. Let's just call it score. And then I'll do another if statement. And then how am I going to do this? Well, I'm going to say if j, because that is the value of the index at the short string, if that equals short dot length minus 1, I had to think about that for a second, minus 1, then I'm going to increment my score. So what does this mean? Well, this is saying if the index of j is 0, 1, 2, if it equals 2, then we know we can increment the score because we've just passed over an OMG. And if I return this, I would expect to get 3. And I do. Let me just clear up my console, and I get 3. You can tell there. So I guess the main part of this algorithm that's kind of tricky is this logic right here. But just remember, long of index I is just going over every individual character. But once we do one loop through and compare it to the shorter string letters, we need to now remember where we are on the longer string. So that is why we're doing I plus j. And then we're breaking out, obviously, if they don't equal each other. But if they do equal each other, we want to keep track of how long this shorter string is and then increment the score accordingly. So that is a naive string search algorithm. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the next one.